Hi, everybody. Hassan Shariq, regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I hope all of you are doing great wherever in the world you are. Cold, lovely morning here in Canada. I am just awaiting joining of few people. And once we have some people entering this stream, I will start on with a few things. Perfect. So we are coming to the end of the year. And a lot has actually happened in this particular year in terms of Canadian immigration. I will just change the settings because something, yeah. So as I was mentioning, a lot has happened in this particular year, generally, as well as in terms of Canadian immigration. We've seen highs and lows. We've seen the cutoff scores go into the highest that they've been ever. And then we saw CEC specific draws. We also saw the cutoff coming down. This is the year where we saw 5,000 ITAs regularly being issued for all of the last few express entry round of invitation, which is the largest number that they've done in terms of ITA. We have seen CEC specific draws, so quite a lot. We now have additional points for French. So people with French ability get additional points. So that's there as well. And I think it's been a defining year in terms of Canadian immigration. I've done a few videos on that as to why I feel that. Let's look at, in my opinion, at opportunities in the upcoming year. So first of all, I've had a lot of discussion with some of my other colleagues. A lot of people have been asking, next particular year, some of the calculations that I feel will work out. First of all, with a target of the federal programs being around 108,000 PR spots for next year, I do feel that there will be draw every 2 weeks. That is going to be the norm. And in each of these draws, we will have about 5,000 invitations. So if that is the case, see, you will have about 25 to 26 draws, which translates into about 125,000 people being invited. And ITAs are always higher than the actual number of PRs that are issued, because some are refused, some decline, and then some number moves forward as well. So Federal Skilled Worker Program applicants, do stay tuned this year, because there is great opportunity, and I do expect the CRS scores to fall down close to 460. That's my take at this stage. Let's wait a couple of months and see how things roll out, and then I can give an opinion as to will it fall anything below 460 or not. But I do feel that 460 is definitely on the cards, which will be great news for a lot of people. I know a lot of people who have brilliant credentials in terms of education, experience, IELTS, but probably they are 31 years of age. So they're missing out on those CRS points, and they're around 460. So for you folks, it's going to be opportunity. Also for people who are in similar kind of situation, one opportunity could be that you could apply as non-accompanying spouse. That will increase your points, and maybe you come into 460. You apply like that. Once you move to Canada as a permanent resident, then you can sponsor your spouse and your kids. So that might be an opportunity to look into. If the federal cutoff drops, definitely there is possibility that the cutoff or the qualifying score for other PNP streams would fall down. And one of the streams that I always emphasize is the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program, OINP, and they have the Human Capital Priorities stream, where there's about a handful of, I'd say, about 10 to 12 different professions which are invited. Tech professions are there. So their scores have been in 460s and 470s as well, because the federal cutoff was very high. Moving forward, if the federal cutoff drops and say it has already come down into 468, and it's my own expectation is it is expected to fall down 1 to 2 CRS points every other draw that we have in 2 weeks time. So I am looking at the OINP cutoff scores falling down definitely into 450s, if nothing below that. So that's a great opportunity. Saskatchewan, I'm of the opinion that they have been doing regular draws all throughout the year. There was a draw every month, sometimes 2 draws, and they've been inviting quite a lot of different occupations. The number is always small, sometimes 200, 300, 400, because their allocations are small. This year, once they'll have a larger number of allocations with them, definitely it means that there is going to be more invitations from Saskatchewan. Although it might be a little more competitive now, for the prime reason that with Saskatchewan, they've added points for French now, and those who have French ability, definitely they can score a little more points. So previously, the cutoff scores for Saskatchewan's SINP draws, the range between 68. Most of the times it was 69, 70. But the recent draws that they've had, I think it was 74. So maybe it will be around 70, but with more and more draws, there's possibility as well. Keep in mind, I've talked about it, and I'm planning on doing a video or maybe 2 videos on Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, where I'll brief all of you as to how the points are scored. It is not for everyone. It is for people who gives you a benefit that you have maximum points up until the age of 34. So that's where people who've crossed 30 might have some opportunity. But then it gives you points once you have about 8 to 9 years of work experience. So definitely people with age 33, 34 can have that much of work experience. So it is for a specific group, I would say, and that's where your opportunity is. But a program to look into. Some other programs. Some of the provinces, I did make a video, or I mentioned in one of our sessions very recently. I think it was on 17th of December. The province of New Brunswick, in their express entry, PNP express entry stream, they added some new stuff. There was an update. And what they did was that if you're enrolled in certain institutions, I think it is the University of New Brunswick, and you have previous work experience or in NOC 0A and B, and you're just enrolled in university, or you have a letter of enrollment from the university, you could submit your expression of interest for their express entry program. Now, that doesn't mean that you get the PR, but they were requesting expression of interest even through that. So do expect some changes in these small PNP programs in the upcoming year, because they have more allocations, because they have more and more spots available. And for a lot of governments in Canada, be it the federal or provincial, they have come up with this plan of using immigration as an economic stimulus. So immigration is going to continue. So that's my thoughts. That's what I feel that we will see in the upcoming time. For a lot of you who are sitting, wanting, waiting, wishing. 2020, almost at the end. It is the 27th. Just a few more days. In terms of, I do understand a lot of people would want to move to Canada. They would migrate, would want to migrate to Canada and settle, and people ask those questions. But you have to have a clear focus. It's not possible for everyone. You have to do your assessment. If you've crossed a certain age limit, skilled migration is probably out for you. If in that case, if you are willing and you have the ability to invest in Canada, there are options in terms of business immigration. But otherwise, skilled migration is gone. Then you can't really be looking at skilled migration as the option for you. And please don't really be desperate about it, because that is where once you show that desperation and once you go and connect with a lot of these, what we call as the ghost consultants around the world, that they will scam you out of your desperation. For a lot of people who are who only have a 4 years bachelor's, like they have 16 years of education, right now the opportunities of skilled migration from outside of Canada are very, very low. Let's put it straight. So for you, either you need to add to your qualification in the country of residence that you, like wherever you are based right now, or you have to look at the option of studying in Canada. Now, recently, in last, I'd say, couple of weeks, I've been consulted by a lot of applicants from various parts of the world. More specifically, a large number of consultation sessions were booked by people who are based in Australia, and this is a trend that I saw. So I thought I'll talk about it. So a lot of international students who moved to Australia in last few years are in a bit of a tough situation over there. They're stuck. So the permanent residency options in Australia have become very, very competitive. You finish your degree from Australia and you are stuck. You're still not able to make it for your permanent residency. And a lot of them asked me if which is the province that they should choose, where should they be heading towards. Now, as somebody who's had his education from Australia, like I mentioned this, I have studied in Australia myself. I did one of my degrees, my MBA from Australia, and I've enjoyed my time over there. And as an immigration practitioner, I work with some Australian immigration lawyers as well. So we sort of look at things jointly. I know it is right now very, very difficult to obtain PR in Australia. So and that's why in that frustration, because people have spent time and money, now a lot of them are thinking about immigrating to Canada. Some of them have the credentials, like if you have a master's degree from Australia, and if you have about 2 to 3 years of work experience, your age is not more than 30, you have a great opportunity here in Canada. Don't wait. Start your Canadian skilled migration application. I have a good number of applicants who have completed their degrees in Australia. They tried for like a year or so, and now are applying for Canadian skilled migration and in the process. So those people who are in Australia, they've completed a master's from Australia. The great thing is that if you've done your master's in Australia, it is like 1 week's process to get your ECA done through WES. It's a completely online process. So do that, have that done. The chances of you scoring a CLB 9 are pretty good. You've had Australian education. you've lived in an English-speaking country, around 3 years of work experience, 2 to 3 years, and you have great opportunity. For some other folks who are slightly in a different position, maybe they do not have, like they've crossed the age of 30, or they do not have that much of work experience, and they are considering some study in Canada and using that as a pathway towards PR. Now, comparing the two systems, not taking anything away from Australia, but the number of PR spots or the immigration spots that Canada has compared with Australia, Canada has a much higher number. And there are way more pathways for international students who study from within Canada for PR compared with Australia. So a lot of people, one of the common questions, and in last couple of weeks, I've had quite a large number of consultations of this kind. So I thought I'll talk about it so that if somebody else is listening to it, they get benefit out of it. If you're considering study options in Canada, do not really focus too much about which province to pick. Because see, if you are looking at doing a 2 years program, you pick a province right now, in 2 years time, the policies might change. And that's not something that you should focus on. If you study in Canada, say you have, there are various levels of offerings that you have. So first, by the federal government, if you complete your study in Canada and it is a program of 2 years, or if it is a master's, you get 30 CRS points in your express entry profile. If it is less than that, you get 15 points. So that's there. Then based on your study in Canada, you have the postgraduate work permit option as well. So say, for instance, you're not able to meet the point threshold just with the 15 or 30 CRS points, you have the postgraduate work permit in which you can work anywhere in Canada. And that will give you an opportunity. You start working once you have 1 year of Canadian work experience. That will give you a lot of points, like close to about 50 CRS points for your express entry application, and that might qualify you for an ITA. And if at that stage you feel that you're still stuck somewhere, now each of the Canadian provinces have a stream for its own graduates. So depending whichever province you've studied in, you will have a stream for that particular province. And then with the postgraduate work permit that you get, you are allowed to work anywhere in Canada. So you could, at that stage, you could actually sit down and think as to which province you should be moving towards and looking for a job. So just giving you an example, like if you're in Alberta, and you're working in Alberta, you have experience in Alberta, your chances of getting an invitation increase. If you're in Saskatchewan and you do study in Saskatchewan, that gives you points. If you work in Saskatchewan, that gives you points. Same goes for BC. Some of the programs that people can definitely have a look. I have been suggesting for those who are considering study option as a pathway towards PR. Do look for options in RNIP, the Rural and Northern Immigrant Pilot Program, where there are about 3 to 4 communities from within the province of Ontario. These are not very big towns, Thunder Bay, Sudbury, North Bay, but they have some good universities. So see, if you join these universities, the benefit that you will have, that you will get the CRS points for the Federal Skilled Worker Program, or the CEC program like Express Entry, you will get those points. You will get the postgraduate work permit. If you're not able to meet that, and say, for instance, if you're doing a master's, the province of Ontario has a master's graduate stream. You could be eligible for that. And then the RNIP is there as well. So if you graduate from within one of these, an institution within these communities, you have those opportunities as well. So look for programs like this. Don't really focus on any specific province in terms of choosing your university or your college. Look for programs. Ideally, I would say look for programs which are longer than 1 year, ideally close to 2 years. That gives you a 3 years postgraduate work permit. Your options increase. And once you are in Canada and you graduate from a Canadian institution and you have your communication skills well, you've done work well on your professional profile, landing into a professional job is not all that hard. I know it has become really, really competitive in down under, but it's not all that difficult here. And then if you actually require a job offer that a lot of people require for 50 CRS points, once you work for an employer in Canada, the chances of you being offered that job offer with an LMIA for 50 CRS points is much higher. So that's how you should look at. So my advice to a lot of applicants, I'm by no means I'm saying anything to people in Australia that they should abandon that. It's a great place. I love that country. I've spent amazing time in Sydney. Sydney still is one of my most favorite cities in the world. But for those who have completed a master's in Australia and they are on there is a postgraduate work permit that you get and you've had 1 or 2 years of experience, if your age is 30 or less than that, and you have 2 to 3 years of work experience in your home country and then maybe in Australia as well, and you've done a master's, a great opportunity for all of you to start your PR process for Canada. It's not going to take long. As I said, ECA will be done in a week's time, and then IELTS maybe in a few weeks, and then you can submit your expression of interest. And maybe by the end of this year, the upcoming year, you can move to Canada as a permanent resident. This is something that I wanted to talk about more specifically for a group because of some discussions with people in last 2 weeks, and if this can benefit anybody. So now I will take a few questions. Cybertruck, hi. I don't know your real name. This is a nice one, a fun name, online name that you have. But Cybertruck is a regular attendee of the session. Good to see you. Can you answer if completion of 1 year PG diploma in Manitoba entitles for international student stream invitation to apply? Does one need a job offer as well after this credential? PG diploma in Manitoba, I'll have to have a look at the. Now, keep in mind there's so much information. And having all of this right off the head is very difficult. So I'll have to have a look at this. Completion of 1 year PG diploma in Manitoba entitles for international student stream. So you can easily see that. I don't think that's a challenge. This should be national student stream up there. So international education stream, I have. I have made a quick video about this. So I don't think so that the postgraduate diploma will make you eligible for that. They have, under international education stream, they have 3 pathways. So there is the career employment pathway. And what I can do is I can actually share the screen. Yep. So there you go. So I'm on the website of Manitoba immigration program. And if you have a look for their international education stream, they have 3 different pathways. There's the career employment pathway, the graduate internship pathway, and the international student pathway. Sorry, I have a bit of a neck sprain, so it's becoming difficult for me to move my neck. And the graduate internship pathway, if you have a look, the education requirement is completion of a master's or doctoral program. So that straight away takes that off. This one, which is the International Student Entrepreneurship Pilot, for that you need to have a business plan. And the first one is the career employment. For this, you will require a job, but this is where, yeah, the career employment pathway stream is where you could be eligible if you have a 1-year diploma from within Manitoba. But then there are some other requirements where you must have a full-time job offer from an eligible Manitoba employer, and it should be a minimum 1-year contract. So that's what I usually say, that if you just do a bit of research, a lot of this information is up there. These are policies. So these are there, and people should themselves do the research and look at it, and that's how you can save yourself from possible fraud. Hope this helps. Cybertruck. So yes, there is a stream, the career offer pathway. For that, 1-year diploma can work, but you must have a job offer for that from within a Canadian, a Manitoba employer. Qasim asks, hi Shafiq, it's Shariq actually, but that's fine. I'm currently living in Australia and I'm an electrical engineer, but not doing well in job. What are my ways for immigration? So Qasim, I did, luckily, I did touch upon that. You are not, for express entry, you are not required to have job in the relevant qualification. As long as you have work experience in NOC 0, A, and B, you are eligible for applying for Canadian skilled migration under the express entry stream. We'll have to have a look as to what experience you've had in the past. If you're in Australia, what kind of job you're doing in Australia, and what roles were you doing in whichever country you are originally from, quite likely from Pakistan, Bajwas. You can be eligible for Canadian skilled migration, even if you're not working as an engineer. If you would like to discuss your case, you can go online on my website and you will find the option of booking a consultation session. You can book a virtual consultation session. I can look at your details, and then I can let you know if you have any chances moving forward. But even if your experience is not in the same line for which you've had your education or your majors, you could still, but it is still a NOC 0, A or B job or role, profession. You are eligible to apply for Canadian skilled migration under express entry. Facebook user, Hassan, any draw expected on 30th? I have no clue on that. See, everybody says expected. So when you say expected, it can be expected any day. Anybody who say only immigration department would have that kind of news. Myself claiming that is a complete lie, or anybody claiming that is a complete lie. We've had a draw on the 23rd. The way it has been working is that there is a draw every 2 weeks. So if we go with that policy, it will be most likely on the 6th of January now. 30th of December, I don't know why some people on social media have been saying that there is going to be a draw on 30th. Maybe they have some information. I don't have any information. So expect a draw on the 30th. I would expect a draw in January now, but I can be wrong. Qasim, I've now answered your question. A request to those who are joining for the first time that you should post your question. It is there, and I will answer that. There's absolutely no, because then a lot of other comments drop down because people keep sending the same message or asking for these things. I will read all the comments one by one. Mark, hi Hassan, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, and hope 2021 brings some peace into our lives. 2020 was pretty turbulent. Mark is asking if 455 would be a good score for Ontario Immigrant OINP. I do feel that 455 has a good chance. So this year we did see 460 and above. If your knock is one of the knocks that they invite, Mark, I do expect the scores to go down to 450 for the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. So stay put and let's be hopeful. Mohammed Hassan, next EE draw. Any guess? It's been happening. See, I don't know why people ask for guesses. Probably it's just that you're part of the race, so you want to listen it from somebody. My guess is as good a guess as yours. I don't have any information from the Department of Immigration. I'm a licensed immigration counsel, but that does not mean that we get this insider information from the Department of Immigration. So my best guess, based on the facts, is that it will most likely be on the 6th of Jan now. Sankha, hi Shah, I'm 32, IELTS CLB 9, TEF CLB 6, 10 years of work experience, teacher, which bachelor's degree and a postgraduate diploma, 463. My question, should I have a master's degree for Saskatchewan PNP? Yes, for Saskatchewan, and as I said that I will be making, because I thought that a lot of people have asked that, and it will benefit a lot of people if I can make a detailed video about the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program. With Saskatchewan, the way it works is that either you get points for a bachelor's degree or you get points for a master's degree. As it is for the express entry, there is the option of having points for 2 or more degrees, and it's very close to masters. That option is not there for Saskatchewan. So for Saskatchewan, either a bachelor's or a master's. So if you have a master's, that will definitely help you in Saskatchewan. Do keep in mind that there are specific professions that Saskatchewan would want, and not a lot of teaching professions are there. But the profile that you're mentioning, 32 years of age, this is still within the 34-year range, so you will have maximum points for that. IELTS CLB 9, they actually allocate you the maximum points for English language ability if you have a CLB 8. So you have maximum points over there. CLB 6 in French, that will give you some additional points as well. Right off my head, I don't remember as to how many they give for that. 10 years of work experience. So you right now, for all other things, you have the maximum points. Just that for your bachelor's, you might be your education, you might be losing about 3 points. But you would be gaining some points for, if you could have a master's, or if you could slightly improve your French, you have a good chance in Saskatchewan, depending what knock are you nominating. If you go online on their website, what I can do is that I can actually share this with you. Like if you, sorry, again, my next train is a bit of an issue today. just go online and look for Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program draws, and you will find a document that they have in which they list all their draws in last about a year or so. For each draw in that table, you will be able to see the the knocks that they've invited, and they, based on that, you could specifically look at the knock that you've nominated for yourself, if that knock has been invited. If not, then try and look for knock which is closest and see if there is a possibility that your roles and responsibilities match with that, and you could actually nominate that kind of knock. Osman, Shariq, according to my study profile, there is a gap between my graduation or MBA, almost 2 years. Is it create issuing for applying? Osman, I have no clue if you want to apply for a student visa, or if you would want to apply for your skilled migration. You've not mentioned. Always good to explain things. If it is for student visa, the study gap thing is an absurdity created by, again, the ghost consultants, non-professional people who've not read the law, who do not have training from the right Canadian bodies and avenues. There's nothing as a study gap. Say, for instance, you completed a bachelor's degree or any degree, and after that you started working, and you started working for 3 to 4 years, and then you apply for a master's, or you did a master's degree. Now you were working. You're not supposed to fill that. That's not a gap. Here in Canada and most part of the West, a lot of people complete their undergraduate degrees and start working and only do a master's after a few years. So absolutely no issue. If you're working in a certain time period, it is not a gap. If you're not working in a certain time period, then it is a gap and you have to justify. As long as you have a proper justification, that can be covered. Hope that helps. Facebook, which area is most suitable for a person looking for normal weather condition and job in Canada? I don't know your name. This is not my domain to answer. I'm an immigration expert. Canada is a huge country, starting from East Coast, places like Halifax and stuff, moving on to Vancouver. There is a lot of variation in terms of weather. Normal weather conditions, I don't know what's normal for you. If you are from Scandinavia, maybe places in Yellowknife would be fine for you. If you are from Middle East, even Vancouver wouldn't really be normal for you. And jobs, it's a developed country, so you have jobs everywhere. I think I'm not the expert to answer this particular question. Mazhar Hussain Chima, kindly reply me. Mazhar, you have not asked a question. I don't know what to reply. Jeevan, hi Hassan, just wanted to know how long does background check take for FSW candidates? A lot of people ask, see, you've submitted your application yourself. I do not have the picture. So I do not know how much time it can take. There are a lot of factors. And then it varies for applicant to applicant. See, if somebody has certain aspects in their application, the background check might take more time. It depends how many countries they've been in. So I can't really, again, answer on this. And it depends on officer as well. So it can take just 10 days. It might take 2 months. Thanks, Mazhar. Now you have asked the question. And your question is, please tell me, can I move to Canada on a study visa in current situation? Again, very vague question, Mazhar. They are processing Canadian student visas. You can submit your application. There have been approvals as well. A lot of applications are seeing delays, but there have been approvals in this time as well. If you are granted a visa and there is a list of institutions who have a COVID readiness plan, and your institution is one of those, then you can travel to Canada as well. So that's broadly an answer to Qasim Mahmood. I am Qasim from Australia, done my master's in IT from CSU Sydney. I'm 20 years old and married. I've calculated my CR score, but due to lack of experience, I don't have enough score to meet E. Please guide me. What are the possible pathways for me? Currently, I'm on postgraduate visa. If you do not have a work experience, then nobody can create that work experience. A lot will depend on your knock. If your knock is IT and you have some IT experience, then there might be possibility under the Ontario PNP program. Again, if you want case-specific advising, go on my website and you can find the link for booking a consultation session. Book a consultation session and I can help you. There is a large number of Canadian graduates who have consulted me recently, and some of them are using my services as well for their PR application. So for your specific case, to look at what possibilities are there. You might have worked in your home country. You could use that work experience. There might be possibility in a few months' time. There might be possibility in some PNPs. So I would suggest you can book a consultation, and I'll be able to provide you case-specific advising. Rohan, hi Hassan, my CS score is 464. I might get Saskatchewan nominal program recommended. My knock is in the list. Should I take it up or wait for a bird in hand is better than two on the bush. 464 might have a good opportunity in few months' time, but that's a might. It may happen, it may not happen. We can't predict like that. And it's still like if it was a 467 and we're already at 468, I would have asked you to wait. Your express entry profile will be there. If you get an invitation, perfectly fine, absolutely no issue. But if you get an invitation, and this is for everybody, if you get an invitation from any of the provinces in the meantime, go for that. Your objective is to move to Canada. Once you get the PR, you can move to Canada. You can start working in that particular province 1 year, 2 year. You might actually would want to ultimately stay there because a lot of people want to move to Toronto, but Toronto is very expensive. There is a lot of competition, and sometimes there can be challenges. The province of Ontario, the biggest province, we now have a 4 weeks lockdown. Some other provinces don't. So, there are benefits and consequences. And if you would want to move to some other part of the country after the first 2 years, you could do that as well. So if you're getting a PNP nomination right now, proceed with that. Gursing Harry, can my experience letter from Indian experience can be in present dates as my old one is not in the Canadian format? I'm in Canada and applying for CEC. There's absolutely no issue with the date. You can you can obtain your experience letter at any time. It can be issued at the time that you left the job, after that, or even a recent one, because a lot of times, see, the experience letter that are issued, normally they do not have the ingredients which are required by IRCC. So you might have to obtain a new one, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So Gursing, if it is a recently issued experience letter for a past experience, don't worry about it. Muhammad Ali, Salam Wassalam. I am a police officer, non-commissioned in Pakistan, fall under the category NOC code B4311. My education is MBA marketing. I have more than 10 years experience. I calculated my proposed CRS and it is 420 with IELTS CLB7. Do I have any chance for me to migrate to Canada? Please answer. I am waiting in your live session. Thanks for waiting, Ali. For police, with the profile that you have, the federal program is out. Ontario doesn't invite law enforcement people, not even Alberta. You might want to have a look at Saskatchewan. What I would suggest is just go online, search for SINP draws. you will be able to find a list wherein they've listed all their previous draws. The knock that you've selected 4311, with every draw, they also mention the different knocks that they've invited. Try and do a search if 4311 is there. Right off my head, I don't remember if it is there. If it is there, then you could have a possibility in there. Because you have a master's MBA, so this will be there. You have 10 years of experience. The only thing that I see is IELTS CLB 7. For Saskatchewan, you must have a CLB 8 for highest points. I'm not sure what your age is, but if your age is not has not touched 35, then you are going to score maximum points for that as well. So that's off my head the suggestion I can give you. Look for Saskatchewan program and see if your knock has been invited. Mansoor, hello, I'm electrical engineer, having 3.5 year experience done with masters and ECA from West with master's equivalency in 29 years old, currently preparing for arts and exam. So if you have a master's, like any ECA is master's, you're 29 years old, you have 3 years work experience, then all you need, Mansoor, all you need is CLB 9 and IELTS, and that's how you. You should not be waiting any longer. Get done with your IELTS, because once you hit the age of 30, you will start losing CRS points every year. So don't wait. If you are able to score CLB 9 in IELTS, you're on your way towards permanent residency in Canada. Also, depending on what work experience you've had, if that experience falls under one of the knock codes. I know you're an engineer, but the experience can be different as well, which are there for Ontario. You could have opportunities there as well. Ali, you're asking if express entry profile. Nothing wrong in doing the express entry profile. You are you get in the pool, and then you might be invited. And also keep in mind, a lot of PNP programs base themselves on express entry profile. So you must have an express entry profile. For express entry profile, you've mentioned that you have an IELTS. So if you have an IELTS, that is one of the requirements. The other one is ECA. For all of you who want to be in express entry profile, you have to get an ECA done, and you have to have an IELTS done. Once that's there, you get in the pool. And being in the pool, nothing wrong, even if you have a low CRS. The CRS is not expected to fall as low as like 420s and 30s, but you never know. So if you will only benefit if you are in the pool. Also, some of the PNPs like Ontario, Alberta, they pick people from the express entry pool. And then some other PNP programs like Saskatchewan for their international skilled worker, they have two categories. One is the express entry, and the other is occupation in demand. For express entry, you must have an active express entry profile. So say, for instance, you don't have an express entry profile, you're not eligible for that. The other one is OID. With OID, even if you're invited, that is a paper-based application, and it will take maybe 2 years for the application to be finalized. So once you have your IELTS and your ECA, absolutely nothing wrong making your express entry profile. Ali Aftab, interior design knock in demand. I think, Ali, I have a memory that maybe you've asked a similar question previously in one of the sessions, excuse me. Itself, interior designer, I don't recall off my head any province where this particular knock is in demand. Ideally, you should be looking at the federal programs. AIPP prospect for 2021 for undergraduate marine engineer skilled labor knock. AIPP is still on this year. I think there is something like, I did discuss the other day, there is something like 6,000 or 8,000 allocations for this. So definitely there is an opportunity. And if you're a marine engineer, there is good opportunities in those provinces, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Newfoundland. So depending from where are you looking at graduating, there is good possibility, but you have to fulfill the requirements for that. AIPP, marine engineer, I do see possibilities. Is there a future for accountants in Ontario? My husband is 36-year-old with 10-year experience in Saudi Arabia. Do we have any chance anywhere in Canada, or are we too late? Age 36, it is a little late. Ontario, there might be possibility. They actually invite people with 1111, which is accounting and auditing professions. But at age 36, you will lose a lot of points for age. Nothing wrong in creating an expense profile and getting into that. But I would suggest that for somebody who's already into mid-30s, you should be looking at probably doing study in Canada and then using that as a pathway towards permanent residency. Rahul sir, I submitted my application. My proof of funds are in form of fixed deposit, but the bank has not mentioned the footnote that I don't have any loan against that. This way, that's fine. I don't have the documents, and I don't do case-specific advising once your application is submitted. Ideally, it should be mentioned. If it is not mentioned, then it is expected that there isn't anything, but this will depend on the case officer. Thank you, sir. Can you share the link where I can find the NOC 431B are invited by Saskatchewan? Ali, that's where we all of us, we need to do some, I can definitely share that, but if you just go, or I will try and show that to you. Just wait. Yeah, so I will share the screen. Excuse me. So I am on the website of Saskatchewan government, and then they have their international skilled worker EOI system. If you go online, you will find this where you have EOI selection results. And over here, you have download SINP, international skilled worker expression of interest results. This is where you click and you get to have a document. I don't know if this will open right now or not, but you will have a PDF document. If you would want this later, look for it, just Google SINP draws, you will get on this website. And then, as I mentioned, if you still don't find it, once this video session is finished, in the comment section, mention that, and myself or my social media staff will send that to you. Last few questions. Barira, what is the future of accountants in Canada? My husband, I think Barira, I've already answered that. RF, hello sir, can you please share what documentation needed to prove work experience as a business owner / self-employed? Already have NTN and business bank account. If you're a self-employed person, the documentation is not that simple. You have to provide all possible documents which can prove yourself. So you have to provide your business incorporation. You have to provide documentation for the services that you provide to clients. You have to provide some letters from the clients for the services that you provided. So it can be multiple documents. Anything that proves that it is not a set list of documents, I must say, which can prove, but it is multiple documents, and this depends on case-to-case basis. Just a few: your business incorporation, that your business was there, your clients, you must have had some kind of documentation with your clients. It might be invoices, it might be contracts, there might be emails. You might have to have get something written on legal paper by your client as to what services you provide to prove that you perform those particular duties. So it's a multitude of documents that you would have to provide. Arif, I've mentioned some of the things. If you would want specifically for your case, that is where you would have to use the paid services. You can book a virtual consultation session by going on my firm's website, and we could look at the specifics for you and then guide you. Riddhi, if a valid study visa holder visits India and comes back before his study visa expires, does he need to apply for another document like TRV? This is a very technical one because valid study visa holder, now it depends if your study has actually completed. Like if you've finished your studies and your study visa was still valid based on the initial grant that was there, and then you go back, then there is a certain time. Like once you graduate, there's a certain period of time after which it expires. But in most cases, if your study permit is still valid and you return back, then you shouldn't be requiring another TRV. Really, you've asked the same question probably 5 times. I don't know why is that so. So that's all the questions that I have for now, and I will end the question and answer session. For all of you who've attended the session, thanks for taking your time out. It's always my pleasure talking to all of you interactively. There are some folks who've asked case-specific questions, and I in these sessions I try and answer in a generic way. If you would want case-specific advising, for that you have to book a consultation session, which is a 30-minute virtual session, and it is charged at 100 Canadian dollars. You can go online on our website, and there's a book consultation session option. You could do that, and then I will look at all your details, your documentation, and provide you the specific track that you're eligible for, or even if you're not eligible for, and what steps you should take. And then if you want to proceed with the full application, we can discuss that as well. Those interested in case-specific advising, that's the way to go about. For generic queries, you can always use the comment section in the videos and put your comments in there. Myself or my staff will get back to you. And if you want to get in touch with us to discuss about your application or know about the services we offer or have your assessment done, you could always drop an email on our email address, which is info@shariqimmigration.com. That's all for today. We will now meet in 2021. So Happy New Year. My prayers that the new year bring great blessings and fortune for all of you. The whole world actually requires that. Hopefully 2021 will make us see more peace and not so much of turbulence that we've seen in this particular year. Take good care of yourself and your families. Till the next time that we meet, take care and Allah Hafiz.